Why do we have the weird book of Revelation? I'll give you a hint. It's not because it's talking about the future, because it's not. Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. So interestingly enough, up until the 3rd or 4th century, the Christian movement really didn't like the book of Revelation and didn't want it included in the canon because the book of Revelation's message is really very different than the message of Jesus. So let's take a step back real quick. The book of Revelation is a kind of literature, a genre called apocalyptic literature. Apocalyptic literature isn't trying to tell you exactly what's going to happen in the future, but it's a way of talking about what's going on in the present to help you sort of see it from God's viewpoint. The idea is that you would sort of peel back reality and show people what is going on with God. And the book of Revelation is doing that to try to reassure people, because the people that it was talking to were in a really difficult time. Those people were being oppressed by the Roman government. They had all kinds of freedoms taken away. It was really hard. They were being deeply persecuted. And the question is like, well, if God is all powerful, then why are we being persecuted? If we are God's people, what's going on? Shouldn't God be punishing these people? But the Roman Empire just seemed to be expanding and expanding and expanding and continuing to do horrible things to the Christian. And it's difficult because Jesus, when you read the Sermon on the Mount and his teachings, is all about sort of dismantling the systemic powers, the like power systems, and coming up with a new way of doing things. He's like, you heard it said that you should have an eye for an eye or a tooth for a tooth, but I'm telling you, that's not okay. You don't get revenge on people and do the same evil and violent things to them that they've done to you. But the book of Revelation seems to be saying the exact opposite. So the book of Revelation is addressing the people who are in this moment in time, and it's saying to them, look, it's really bad, but in the future, it's not that the power structures are going to be undone and there's going to be this new peaceful way. No. All the power and all the strength that this government is having, it's going to be yours someday. And when the tables are turned, you get to do what you want, which is comforting and reassuring, but ultimately problematic. And that's why most Christians were not up for having this as part of the canon until the 3rd or 4th century. So what changes there? Well, they are trying to figure out, deal with things that they're going to ultimately call heresies, Arianism, and they're also trying to structure power at a time when Christianity had become the state religion of, wait for it, Rome. And so Revelation all of a sudden becomes a useful tool in both of those things to deal with the Arianism controversy, and to structure power, because it puts forth a very traditional view of power. So that's why it's in there, but it's in there. It's part of this sacred text that's been used for generations and generations to inspire people to do really good and sometimes horrible things. But how can that help us form beliefs? Well, one of the things that it really points to that can be helpful for us, this sort of call to, when things are hard, stick with it, right? And I think that's really helpful when you are dealing with deconstructing, trying to figure out what you believe. That could be a really hard time for someone in their life as a spiritual person. And there's a tendency to just give up on everything, to not do the hard work, to not stick with it. And when you do that, you lose all of the good side of spirituality, the like psychological, peer-reviewed, studied kind of good side. And so one of the things I think can be helpful is to say, you know what? I don't get it. I don't know what's going to be happening, but I am going to stick with it. I'm going to see this through. And yeah, I may not believe any of it in the end, but for right now, I'm going to hang in there.